right now, but I still greet you for when you watch the playback as if you're watching right now. All right. Welcome. I know it's been a while since I posted on the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in when you tune in. This is The Ancient Kitchen by Jazz, and I'm striving just to get us back on the pathway to eating more ancient, and that entails using and eating whole foods and making them delicious as they absolutely are naturally. So, by the title, if you see it, we're making unleavened pizza. So, there's nothing more ancient than to keep the Most High God's feast days, his holy feast days. So, one of them is unleavened bread. And for 7 days, we don't eat anything that has leavening agents in the dough, um, or have straight up leavening agents in our house, like baking soda, yeast, and baking powder. So it is a little late for lunch, but I still need to get my son's lunch going. So I figure, why not come on and show you all how I make unleavened bread once again, and specifically making unleavened pizza. If you're an OG to the channel, you know that I've done this before years ago, and I've made unleavened French toast, unleavened cookies, unleavened pizza, but I never recorded the unleavened pizza. So that's what we're going to make today. All right, so I have some flour. Now, also, if you're an OG, you know that I usually use only ancient wheat, and today we don't have ancient wheat. But this is not enriched wheat. Although it is the wheat from today, which is semolina, it is a fine flour that is unbleached and not enriched, like I said. So, quick little factoid on what enriched means. Enriched is when the whole kernel of the wheat is stripped, and then of all of its minerals, fibers, protein, nutrition, and then it is synthesized. Once that kernel is basically bare, then they try to add those minerals and vitamins back through a synthesized process called enrichment. So in the United States, that is a popular processing tool that they use to try to say, well, we took off the natural things, but we put it back on in a synthesized way. And I don't know about you, but I'm not synthesized. I'm straight up organic. And I believe most of us are, because the Most High God made us. So that is important to me when I picked up this flour. This is also a Napoleon or Napolitani, hello everyone, type of flour. It is an Italian processing that they use. So it's great for pizza, actually. And it's, like I said, it's a fine flour, and not enriched, and is not bleached either. So once they mill it, that's why it has an off color to it. It's not purely white. Once they mill it, they don't do any other processing for it. So this is actually not too bad. I definitely still recommend einkorn and spelt flour, because that's just the best. But as far as price wise, this one was more affordable. It was on sale for $3.99 at Harris Teeter. So let's get started. The beauty of making unleavened pizza is you really don't have to measure anything. You, of course, don't have any leavening agents. We don't have to wait for the dough to rise, because the children of Israel were leaving Egypt in haste, and that's why we are honoring unleavened bread. So let's get started. So I'm going to, I'm going to bring y'all down here so you can see what I'm doing. I have a big wooden spoon, just putting about 2 spoonfuls of this, which is about a cup. And a little bit of water. Season it to your liking. I'm going to use salt. This is sea salt I'm using. Garlic powder. And some oregano. All right. Super easy lunch I'm making for him. I have my cast iron here as well, so I'm going to start heating that. What I'm going to do is cook the flatbread first, then top it with the tomato sauce, cheese, and other toppings, and then put it in the oven to let that all bake together. And be on the lookout because I have more unleavened recipes coming your way. Some things, we get so used to our routine and what we eat, it can be difficult trying to transition from eating food with leavening agents to eating non-leavening agent foods, especially for our children if you're a parent. So that's what I was focusing on with these meal ideas. So those will be coming soon on the Ancient Kitchen. Be on the lookout for that. This is a great lunch and dinner idea. Let's see if we can make it under 30 minutes. Shalom and peace. All right. Now this dough, we don't want it to be super wet. I made unleavened cakes yesterday, and I purposely put a lot of liquid in the batter to make it more like a pancake. This is going to be like a flatbread pizza dough. So we don't want to put too much water in it. I'm going to switch to my hands. I can tell it's already getting tacky. All right. And like I said before, this flour I'm using, it is not an ancient flour, but it's one of the better options on the market, I think, because it's unbleached. It is not enriched. And one of the more cleaner alternatives for a fine flour. You can tell the texture isn't like all-purpose flour. So I threw away the container, but I can look to see if it has some fiber still in it too, because it might. All right. I'm going to just knead it, if you will. All right, perfect. So I greased my pan, so it should be good. And I'm going to just try to flatten it out in the pan. Let's see. You don't need that much material either with this. And this is a fun way to get the children involved too. Like I said, making these types of adjustments for unleavened bread, it's worth it. It's just, you probably are wondering, well, what am I going to make? This is a great one because most children love pizza. Even if we weren't in unleavened bread, I always home make my pizza. I don't buy it from pizza places, because you can just control what you're putting in the food when you make it at home. You can control the sodium content, fat content, sugar. You can make sure there are no additives when you're making your own. So that's what I prefer to do. So I'm just trying to like flatten it in the pan to spread it out some more. I think I might make another one. I think he might want another one. All right. Okie dokie. Perfect. And you know, another um, bonus we get from using cast iron is you get some iron in your food as well. I love cast iron. Thank you. I try. Awesome. Yay. Yeah, it's super easy. Super duper easy to make this type of pizza. So you can use any pizza sauce you want, marinara, regular pizza. I have the Classico brand. I get this in bulk from Costco, and I prefer. They have another one that doesn't have any added sugar. Um, this one has 8 grams of sugar per half of a cup. So the other brand, like I said, has no added sugar whatsoever. If you're in a pinch, if you're on a budget, you know, gas prices are whew, whew, this is a this is an okay alternative. It's all organic. You can recognize all the ingredients, and most of the time we're not going to use a half of a cup of tomato sauce. So in this recipe we're definitely not. We're going to be using the tablespoon, if that. So it won't be as much sugar per serving for this recipe. So just an FYI. In the pan, as far as my grease, I use coconut oil. I recommend, if you're going to use any type of oil, do your research. There's a lot of great information coming out about seed oils. So definitely make an informed decision about that. I am a no seed oil home. So I'll cook with coconut oil. I'll cook with butter. And the butter that I use is the Kerrygold brand, because that is the highest quality butter that I found on the market. And it is a mixture of A1 and A2 milk, which is a better quality as well. And it's a European type of milk. So I think they probably treat their cows a little bit better than they do here in the United States. Also, I use avocado oil. That's a good one. I use olive oil, but I do my best not to heat it. I'll sprinkle it on top of dressings and salads like that. That is a mono unsaturated fat, so it's really good, but I believe the chemical bonds for that can break very easily when you heat it up. But definitely to your own discretion. We're all doing our best here. So I think we need to flip this. Let's see. It's looking good. It smells good too. Let me show you all. Our unleavened bread pizza, if you will. I'm telling you, you can do the mozz if you want, but it is so easy to make your own unleavened bread. It's literally flour and water. That is it. And you can make it more of a wetter batter and make cakes, or you can make it a drier batter and make some regular flatbreads. And that's what we're doing today. So for my toppings, I've got leftover Parmesan cheese from when I made mac and cheese. Video coming soon for that as well. Vegan mac and cheese. And I've got some goat cheese. This is my favorite, technically dairy cheese to use because goat cheese is naturally low in lactose, and I've been finding, and higher in protein, and I've been finding that my son and I digest it so much better than when we were consuming dairy cheese. So love goat cheese. And I'm going to put a little bit of olives on top for some added just good natural fats, and probably some mixed greens as well. And I think I'm going to keep it cooking on the pan as well when I bake it. Perfect. I get a little dense, but it's all good. It's unleavened. We know what we're working with for unleavened bread. So I'm going to top it off. Just a little bit of tomato sauce. I'm going to try to get you all over here so you can see. I don't know, what did I do? Can you hear me now? Thank you. I'm so sorry. I clicked some buttons while I was in transition and I got messed up. What was the last thing you all heard? Thank you all so much for the support. I hope that you enjoy this recipe too. I really recommend einkorn flour. Einkorn is low in gluten. It's easier to digest. It's an ancient wheat, meaning that it would have been on Noah's Ark, I think. The wheat that we have today is a hybridized version of like einkorn. Um, so if you want the real deal, definitely get einkorn flour. If you're on a budget, this flour that I'm using is by Cento, Cento, and this is their Tip 00 brand, the fine flour at Harris Teeter. Okay, so I was just talking about my journey to switching from non-dairy cheeses to technically dairy cheese. The reason for that was I was just noticing that when I use the non-dairy cheese, and I can show you an example, and this is personal. You know, if you are one that still is on non-dairy cheese, definitely continue doing what you're doing on your journey. If you want to see a homemade alternative for cheese, like making it with nuts, I'll be happy to do that. I make some fire ricotta. But just for an example here, when you look at the nutrition facts, it's got 7 grams of fat, 380 milligrams of sodium, 8 grams of carbohydrates, and we know those carbohydrates are all coming from starches because it's made with potato, um, pea starch, and some coconut oil and yeast extract. Now, yeast extract is okay with unleavened bread. It's only for flavoring. But there's no protein. There's no fiber. And that is the case with most non-dairy alternatives. And for me, nutrition is key. That's the biggest thing for me. I'm not a vegan. I am not a planetarian. I'm not carnivore. I'm not none of that. Nutrition. And that is what I believe is the ancient path. Whole, real foods, minimally processed, using them in the way that God ordained. That's what I'm about. So when I noticed that in making the transition, I knew I didn't want to necessarily jump into cow milk cheese. I was doing research on cow milk cheese and noticing that it is different the way that cow milk cheese can be made. Some cheeses are aged, some are better fermented and help with the digestion. The way the cows are raised, grass fed versus industrialized, all of that plays a big fact on what I want to say, a big difference on the cheese end product. So, I could have been like, well, we're just not going to do cheese. But we love cheese. I like cheese. We all like cheese. So I stumbled upon, I believe the Most High just had for me to consider goat milk cheese. And when I was doing my research on that, I found that it had less lactose. Oh my gosh, you guys. Look at this. What was that, like 2-3 minutes? Let me make sure I don't turn the mic off. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. We got a beautiful pizza, y'all. And there's a stretch with goat milk cheese. So, I found that goat milk cheese had less lactose, so it's easier to digest. Even with people with lactose intolerance, it had more protein. So I was like, you know what? let's just try it out. Let's see how we do. And we've been doing really well. So that has been my journey with going back to eating technically dairy cheese. All right, so let's cut this up. Oh, yeah, and I'm sure he's excited. So in this instance, I would sprinkle olive oil on top of here because I didn't cook it, and I believe just the slight heat from the pizza is not too much for the olive oil to break the chemical bonds, and you still get that taste. I'm probably not going to do it because I already put olives on his pizza, but just just so you know when you can do the olive oil, in my opinion, I definitely think, as far as I can say right now, cooking with olive oil, it would be much better than cooking with canola oil. So yeah. All right, let's plate it up because I want to cut it while y'all are on here with me. Any other questions? Hello. Beautiful, quick lunch slash dinner, unleavened style. Let's see. Ooh, look. Can you see it? Oh, there we go. Oh, hot, hot, hot. But look, it cuts nice. It's soft. Look at the cheese. Oof. We would taste it for you on, but it's so hot. We're gonna let it cool. But I'm confident that this will be a crowd pleaser. And you let me know if it's yay or nay when you try it, okay? Ooh, hot, hot. Ooh, there we go. Beautiful. All right. That's all I have. We're right at 30 minutes. Hey. Awesome. Yes, yes. Reconsider. Look, the whole live was 30 minutes. So, if I wasn't yapping this whole time, just subtract like 20 minutes. Okay. But I hope you all enjoy. Thank you all so much for coming on. I hope you all enjoy. Please stay locked in. As I said before, I will be uploading some more unleavened recipe ideas that are children friendly, more catered to children that have to go to school. Because I know how it is. I will make my son PB&J the whole week. So, of course, we can't do that with unleavened bread, but there are so many other ways that you can meal prep and have nutritious meals for your children. So that's on the way, and I've got an unleavened dessert idea for you too. So definitely stay locked into the channel. Ancient Kitchen is now a subsidiary of Chosen Lot. If you want to support the brand, please head over to www.chosenlot.com and you can donate to the cause, or you can purchase a t-shirt, a mug, a hat. We've got so many things coming in store for you all, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, thank you all for tuning into the Ancient Kitchen. Have a blessed day. Love you all. Thank you so much.